Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics. So, what is it with people representing outside minorities getting in with far-right monocultural political groups like the obvious ethno-Christian MAGA or Reform UK, only to sound surprised when the abuse that they ignored when directed at others suddenly finds itself pointed in their direction? Why do they think they're exceptions? In this country, we've had the Jewish Raoul Braverman quitting Reform UK over anti-Semitism, then the British Asian Muslim Zia Yusuf quitting over Islamophobia, only to then rejoin for reasons. Well, it seems to have happened in the US as well, with Vivek Ramaswamy, one of Trump's tech bros, trying to add his thoughts after the Republicans took a beating in elections this week, only to find he's plumb out of allies. Liberal Americans aren't very happy with him throwing his resources behind Trump, and MAGA aren't very happy with him because, well, his skin colour, religion and heritage. So first of all, who is this guy? Well, you may have heard the name earlier this year when Doge was being floated. He was going to co-run it with Space Karen. Then he wasn't. Then he was again. Then I don't know what happened. He initially came to light by attempting to run for president against Trump, but kind of one of those things people do with no hope of winning, just to raise their profile and get noticed. He made a long run up to politics, attacking the woke leftist agenda, even writing a book about it a few years ago. He's adopted all of the cookie cutter political positions needed to make it within the MAGA culture, and will seek election as the governor of Ohio next year. Now, although this should be straightforward for him, some of the results this week might have made him a little bit nervous, and those nerves seem to have betrayed themselves when he published a Twitter video a couple of days ago.
We got our asses handed to us in New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City. Democrats swept all three. There's two key lessons for Republicans. Listen carefully. Number one, our side needs to focus on affordability. Make the American dream affordable. Bring down costs, electric costs, grocery costs, healthcare costs, and housing costs, and lay out how we're going to do it. And number two, cut out the identity politics. It doesn't suit Republicans. It's not for us. That's the woke left's game, not ours. We don't care about the color of your skin or your religion. We care about the content of your character. That's who we are.
So basically calling on the Republicans to do the opposite of what Republicans have been doing. Now, first of all, some MAGA Republicans had downplayed the results by pointing out, look, the losses were basically in blue states, Democrat basically, which is true as far as presidential voting goes. But not all states vote the same for presidential elections as they will for the more sort of state-focused elections. Ramaswamy was not interested in puffing on the copium, so went completely the other way. His opening line was that it was a disaster, perhaps fearing that his own prospects may not look quite so rosy for 2026. Then his two lessons, we've got two lessons. Bring down the cost of living. Well, that should be no problem, champ, given that the Republicans are in control of all of the branches of government right now. Oh, what's that? They've shut down the government because they wanted to massively raise healthcare costs, and now millions of children are starving? Doesn't look like the Republicans are interested in lesson number one. Never mind. Let's look at lesson number two. Cut the identity politics. With Trump in charge? That's his plan? Oh, and isn't this identity politics? But never mind what Ramaswamy was saying, the replies were quite something. Naturally, there were plenty of those opposed to MAGA pointing out the glaring disparity between what he was calling for and the very ingrained nature of MAGA Republicans, to say nothing of himself for several years. But there were plenty from pro-MAGA accounts as well. Oh, they'll back him up, they'll back him up. No, they weren't backing him up. And that's because they don't see him as their guy. Just as you might see in response to a British Asian speaking up for Reform UK over this side of the Atlantic, plenty of supporters making it clear you're never going to be in the in-group because of the colour of your skin. Makes no difference that Ramaswamy is American, born and bred. He's not white, so he's not really American. It's simple as that. I mean, it's not like MAGA really bothered to hide their white supremacy leanings, is it? We ridicule Latinos who voted for Trump, thinking they were somehow an exception to the incredibly obvious ethno-fascism within the movement. But Ramaswamy is even more baffling for having done this. And it can't even be said he jumped on board when he saw the way the wind was blowing. He was supporting Trump and Trump's politics from just before the start of Biden's term, when Trump was basically done and dusted, and there was a good chance he would stay done and dusted. And he should have stayed that way if Biden and the Democrats were as weak as piss, or as they call it in America, beer. Then there was this. So he posted up a picture with his kids for Halloween. The responses to that were just nothing but outright unnecessary racism. Like, his video post was political, so of course you're going to attract political comments. But a family picture for Halloween? Yeah, there it was. You can even scroll down the replies now. Almost every single one references his ethnicity negatively. It's actually worse than the political message. Like, he gets even more hate for just being normal. Didn't he know MAGA don't do normal? And you have to wonder what he was ever thinking. MAGA and Reform UK are white supremacist cults. It's as clear as day. That Indian Americans or British Indians support each other on their respective side of the Atlantic is amazing to me. That Jews or Muslims alike would support either, when a quick scan through supporters' social media feeds show they hate both, is equally incredible. So in case anyone is still in any doubt, let me just make it absolutely clear here. There are two layers to the MAGA reform trifle, just two. The cake is a lie, you just get jelly and custard. On the bottom, the core supporters, they are the ethno-Christian fascists. If you are not white, and I mean Daz white, you ain't in their club. But also you have to be straight, you have to claim you're a Christian, but don't you dare follow the actual teachings of Jesus, and you have to be male. Women are allowed to occupy the same general space for procreation purposes, but they're really more like the bowl than the trifle. And not only do you need to match up to these very limited characteristics, you must be deeply intolerant of anyone without these characteristics. Otherwise, you're still in the out group. So that's the bottom layer. The top layer are the rich white men who claim to be Christian, but under no circumstances ever do anything approaching meeting the virtues expressed in the Gospels. And their priority is just becoming even richer. And that's it. That's your MAGA reform trifle. If you're not white, male, intolerant, and a fake Christian, you are not part of the trifle. If you support the trifle, you're going in the bin. It's really that simple. And only those on the top layer will ever get what they want, by the way. If you're in the bottom layer, okay, you're in the trifle, but life is still going to be shit for you. But hey, your life will at least be shit in America or Britain, not El Salvador or Rwanda. I personally thought this was fairly apparent. It would seem not. And anyone else not part of the trifle supporting it, they'll say you weren't warned. But let me know what you think in the comments below. For more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.